Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're tackling one of the most alarming and controversial questions circulating in international politics. Is Russia preparing to use tactical nuclear weapons in Ukraine? This isn't just a provocative headline. There have been numerous developments, military movements, and political statements over the past months that suggest the possibility is being seriously entertained. We're going to break this down in the clearest way possible, examining Russia's nuclear doctrine, what tactical nukes are, their deployment systems, performance potential, political strategy, and ultimately, what this could mean for the conflict in Ukraine and the world. Let's begin on the exterior level, meaning, what the world is seeing and hearing from Russia. Throughout 2024 and into 2025, Russian officials have increasingly leaned on nuclear rhetoric. From President Putin's repeated warnings about unacceptable threats from NATO, to Defense Minister Shoigu openly referencing nuclear options in speeches, the messaging has shifted from abstract deterrence to specific warnings. Recently, Russia even conducted military drills simulating the use of tactical nuclear weapons in its southern military district, close to the Ukrainian border. These exercises were showcased on state media, complete with missile launches and battlefield simulations, signaling that Russia wants the world to see it's willing to use these weapons if it feels cornered. Internally, the situation in the Kremlin seems to be growing more desperate. After significant battlefield losses and increased pressure from the West, some analysts believe the Russian leadership sees tactical nuclear weapons not as a last resort, but as a way to regain psychological and military dominance. Intelligence reports from Western agencies, particularly those from NATO and the US, suggest that Russia has already moved nuclear-capable Iskander missiles closer to the Ukrainian theater. In Belarus, a country increasingly under Moscow's control, there are claims that tactical nukes have been stationed and may be at operational readiness. That's a chilling thought. The interior, meaning the internal structure of Russia's nuclear doctrine, is what really matters here. Russia's military strategy includes what's known as escalate to de-escalate or escalate to win. This doctrine proposes that if Russia were losing a conventional conflict, it could deploy a limited tactical nuclear strike to shock the enemy into backing down. The idea is to paralyze NATO or Ukraine psychologically, and force negotiations on Russian terms. So, while in the West, nuclear weapons are primarily seen as deterrents, in Russian doctrine they are potential tools of battlefield utility. That's the heart of what makes this situation different from Cold War-era nuclear standoffs. Now, let's talk performance. What exactly are these tactical nukes capable of? Tactical nuclear weapons are different from strategic nukes. They're smaller in yield, ranging from 0.1 to 50 kilotons, designed for battlefield use rather than annihilating cities. But don't be misled by the term small. The bomb dropped on Hiroshima was around 15 kilotons, and it killed over 100,000 people. Russia possesses a vast stockpile of tactical nukes, estimated at around 1,900 warheads. These can be deployed via cruise missiles, artillery shells, aircraft bombs, and short-range ballistic missiles like the Iskander M. The Iskander M, in particular, has drawn intense scrutiny. It's a mobile short-range missile system capable of carrying conventional or nuclear warheads with a range of about 500 kilometers. Its high maneuverability and precision make it an ideal delivery system for battlefield nukes. And because it's hard to distinguish a conventional launch from a nuclear one, it complicates NATO's response calculations. Recent satellite imagery reportedly shows increased activity at Iskander bases and storage sites near the Ukrainian border. Let's now examine safety features, or rather, the terrifying lack thereof. The main concern is command and control. Russia has a centralized nuclear command system, but the fog of war and a potential collapse in communications could lead to unauthorized or miscalculated launches. Tactical nukes are often deployed closer to the front lines, increasing the chance of theft, accident, or rogue use. Unlike strategic nukes, which are tightly controlled, tactical nukes can be pre-deployed to commanders in the field, who may act under pressure or confusion. In 2023, Russian state media even floated scenarios where regional commanders could respond decisively to Western escalation, a clear hint at decentralized decision-making. One unique selling point, or rather, the strategic leverage, of tactical nukes lies in their ambiguity. Russia may not even need to use them to benefit from them. By merely moving them around, holding exercises, and releasing videos of nuclear-capable systems being prepared, Russia stokes fear, forces NATO to respond, and pushes Ukraine into a state of uncertainty. It's nuclear blackmail at the tactical level. And it's effective. Every time Russia brings up nukes, Western debates about arming Ukraine become more cautious. This hesitation plays directly into Moscow's hands. The economic and political price of actually using a tactical nuclear weapon, however, would be catastrophic. Russia would face immediate global condemnation, likely full diplomatic isolation, even from China and India. Sanctions would be intensified beyond anything seen before. Militarily, NATO might respond with overwhelming conventional force. Using a nuke would break an 80-year-long global taboo. But the frightening truth is, if Putin believes the alternative is total defeat and regime collapse, he might be willing to pay that price. And that's why this threat cannot be ignored. Let's talk about cost, not just in monetary terms, but in geopolitical capital. For Russia, tactical nuclear weapons are relatively cheap to maintain and deploy compared to strategic systems. The real cost lies in the loss of trust and standing. If Russia were to use such weapons, it would shatter whatever remaining cooperation it has with the international community. Arms control agreements would collapse. Non-proliferation treaties would be rendered irrelevant. Other nations might start rapidly developing their own nuclear capabilities, triggering a new and dangerous arms race. So even if Russia doesn't pull the trigger, the mere posturing is already undermining global stability. Now comes the conclusion, what does it all mean? Is Russia preparing to use tactical nukes in Ukraine? The answer is complex. It's not guaranteed, but it's no longer unthinkable. The pieces are in motion, the doctrine, the systems, the rhetoric, and the desperation. Russia is positioning its tools and messaging the world. This could be a bluff, but it's one backed by real hardware and real doctrine. Ukraine's battlefield gains and Western military support are cornering Russia, and history has shown that authoritarian regimes sometimes take irrational steps when survival is at stake. But it's also important to stay grounded. There is still a chance for deterrence to work. The US and NATO have clearly warned of catastrophic consequences if nuclear weapons are used. These warnings are aimed at preserving the status quo of non-use, which has held since 1945. However, vigilance is essential. Complacency is dangerous. We must not ignore the risk just because it's uncomfortable to consider. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay aware, and as always, subscribe for more updates on the world's most critical geopolitical flashpoints.